drop your child and go. It is not their playing. It is a support system of you being there for them. It doesn't make any sense for me when you come on the last day of the finals to watch the game. You have missed all other games. And the most important game is these kids, they want to be there. When you're taking pictures, they want to see their parents are there. So it's important we sacrifice that part of our life to be there for them. Again, you're working so hard, let's work smart. So let me give this podium to this microphone to somebody else. Anybody want to share something? Okay.
Thank you, Sam. I'm just sharing from a perspective that I've seen in our Asian, and especially in our Hmong community, and I do see it in our African and Black community as well, which is that our young girls are graduating from high school, they're graduating from college. Our young men and young boys of color are not graduating from high school, not graduating from college at a much lower rate than our girls are. And we see that in all the data and all the statistics. It shows that girls of color are succeeding at a higher rate than our boys are. And it's because we don't have the programs out there to support our young men and our young boys, as we do for our young women do in our BIPOC community that I've seen. There has to be something done because I have two boys. And I see that it's harder for me to find programs for my two boys than it is for me to find for my two girls. And so my girls will have a better chance of succeeding than my boys will because they have less opportunities to go out there and learn things and new opportunities. So I do see that unless we make a change, unless we really focus on saying what services can we provide to our boys are going to be left behind at a huge rate. And that can't happen in our community. And that's why I always tell Sam the work that he does is so important, because how can we do that together? Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy that it's part of the discussion. When we moved to Minnesota here, my son was almost 2 years old. As I said earlier, the difference between Africa and here. And just like you bring your child, I don't know the high school system, the middle school system, nothing that I know except what I read in newspapers and say in movies. It was a huge challenge for me. But luckily, I went to school here, I got my first AS degree and everything, and I became a volunteer, which I see in my African community, we don't do that as parents. And I became a volunteer coordinator from Tibetan school. I'll call upon parents to come to meetings, they will not show up. The only time you see them show up when they say graduation, they come up all this. I'm telling you, if you show up to school once in a while, your child sees you coming around, it makes a huge difference. So you're right to say they've been neglected one way or the other. I believe that because I'm in the system. I know exactly what I have a testimony to that. So we have to play a pivotal. We have to jump in. It's not too late. It's not too late. So it helps us a lot. So let's do it. Thank you.
Well, thank you again. So before I give this comfort, I know we have some youth in the house. Let's hear your perspective. Let's hear you. What do you think? Do you feel you're neglected as a boy, especially maybe as a minority student in this country? So this is an opportunity for you to share. So anybody want to say something here, young man? You want to go ahead, Brian? Go ahead.
Hello guys, how you guys doing today? So today I'm actually happy that I have the opportunity to actually speak, and today what I actually want to talk about is sometimes it's just hard transitioning because, you know, like, when I was like little, so I used to live in Africa, and then when I came, to the USA, so what happened was, so like sometimes like you see so even when I came, I never even like really saw like white people, you know, so it was weird. And then I remember that, you know, like when I was in second grade, it was a little hard for me to adjust because sometimes the teacher didn't know what I was saying, or either people made fun of my last name, or, you know, but then as I grew and I grew, then I literally went opposite. So then all of a sudden, like Americanization, you know, and I was starting to hang out with like more white people, and then like all of a sudden this year, now I'm starting to hang out with more white people. So I'm just saying that you know, like sometimes when you come from a different country, that it can be hard to adjust because of either failure or sometimes you can't even speak the language. People make fun of you. That's really all I want to say.
Good job, bro.
Thank you. Big clap for Brad. Anybody else? From this side? Oh, there goes JP.
So to reiterate what Brian said, I too grew up in Cameroon, which is in West Africa, whereas Brian grew up in Kenya. And a lot of the experiences he showed, it's not just them. It's not just people who come from a certain part of, Africa. I've talked to a lot of my other friends who are African as well, who came here either in their first generation or second generation immigrants who spent time in Africa like me. And they say the same thing. When I first got here, like I said, my English was terrible. I didn't speak English that much. I didn't speak French. And then they put me ESL because they're like, look, you're going to get picked on a lot if you only speak French around the school. And I feel like it's especially when you're not used to culture, or you're not used to the way people are talking. That's very hard because look, when I was in elementary school, I got made fun of a lot because my accent was different. I wasn't talking English, I was talking Pidgin. The teachers couldn't understand me. And growing up earlier, my mom had to teach me, there's a difference between professional English and the English that you talk at home. Like at home, it might be okay for me to say certain things, but when I go out to like public or school, it might not be okay for me to say certain things. And as a male, that's especially hard because, you're expected to have certain values, expected to do certain things, you're a man of the house. Even when growing up during middle school and high school, Dad always said, look, you're the man of the house. Something happens to you, the person has to take the charge. You have to provide for the family. You can't just be lazy around the house. So you learn from a very young age that you're expected stuff. And I find it kind of ironic because I'm in college right now, and the last quiz I just took was about this topic exactly, in sociology, how men are expected to be providers, how men are expected to be held to certain standards. And I know there was a lot of good topics that was brought up earlier today about how men make up more suicides than female, or how it's harder for males to get help when they're in a basic state of depression. And I just find that's appalling because if this world is made out of 7 billion people, that means that 3.5 billion people are male, so that's 50-50. And it's harder for 50% of the population to get help for these types of things. And I don't know who said it, but there was someone that said that these stuff that happens to females also happens to males. Like yes, they also get sexually assaulted, physically abused, all those things. And we don't hear about the female portion about that because men are expected to suck it up and be a man, don't be a wuss, all those stuff. So I feel like this whole noble fatherhood foundation thing that they're doing is very good because it brings all the stuff that we have to keep inside into light. All right, you go around, you ask them to talk about their feelings, they're probably going to look at you like crazy. No, like even among my friends, we don't really talk about our feelings. We usually hide our feelings in jokes, laugh around, make fun of each other. You know, that's how we express our feelings. When, like, you know, he told us to take time and sit down. I bet you that, you know, cover a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
Thank you. So I'm telling you, this conversation is very, very important, especially when you give the youth the opportunity to give their insight and share their views. So Dr. George, give us something to do.
Thank you very much. The question you asked whether we have neglected the boy child. I think it's the system is historical. In the process, they were trying to empower a girl child. They suppressed the boy child. They were doing that at the expense of the boy child. Our young boys are scared of the system. Most of the families now, they are no role models of men in the home. And what mothers are, they keep telling a young boy, if you misbehave like that, you will go to jail like your father. And that is a system. So the boys have grown scared. They are not resilient. They don't have role models. And that is one of the things which is actually making the boys not succeed. Take, for example, why are ladies graduating from high school? They are more resilient. The boys, the system is crafted in one way. In a household, where would you get a girl child playing a PlayStation? No. We have put PlayStations at home, keeping the boys busy. Instead of doing assignments, they are comfortable playing with the PlayStation. That is not an advantage at home. So they miss assignments, they get poor grades, they don't graduate from high school. The girl does not do so. So men who are supposed to help these boys graduate, they are playing the PlayStation with their sons or watching football Sunday with the boys. Will you get a girl watching football? No. That is the system, and this requires reprogramming. It is not that we have neglected them. We have given the boys the comfort at home that they don't see that happens. Why will you spend $1,000 to buy your son a PlayStation? Why? So if we have to do this, it's not that if we have neglected, we think we are empowering them when we are not. We grew up, if we have to make our toys, we used to make our toys even from mud. But now what are we doing? Importing toys from China made by Chinese boys. So I would think if we have the system and the global fatherhood, talk to fathers, they need to make sure they control those PlayStation when the boys are watching TV, and then we will see high graduation rate, and also let us be good models. Thank you.
Let me thank you again. Like I said, interactive. We are here to support one another. So I'm going to give this mic to Sam, and I'm going to give it to Sam.
All right, thank you, Sam. So actually, I'm in agreement with Dr. Josh there a little bit. This issue this issue came about equality. Actually, if you all remember, September 95, right? Beijing. You all remember that? First lady that time, Hillary Clinton, went to Beijing, and there was all this equality. And it's true, the girl child had been suppressed because our society, was looking at a girl child. If you look globally, girls are not getting educated as boys because, especially from where I come from, we were like, okay, the boys will have to fend for the family and all that, and girls stay at home. And, the scale was, boys were dominating at that time, and then they had to tip the scales the other way around. And if you remember that conference, I think it was like a 5-day conference or wherever, after that, the whole world changed how they looked at girl child, right? And the problem is the scale went so far to the other side, and it never balanced. So when you look at the 6 pillars that we were talking about earlier, promoting men is to promote gender equality and making sure that all genders are equal. And when we talk about gender equality, it does not mean that, because when you hear gender equality, the first thing that comes to mind is the girl child has to be brought up to where the boy child is at, right? So we have to, and the good thing about these meetings is we have leaders here who really need to champion this issue of the boys are now being left behind. How do we bring them back and explain to them that gender equality just means we are all equal? The boy should compete with the girl for the same job regardless, right, or who their gender is. But at the same time, that does not mean that we'll, prefer to hire the girl than the boy. It's merit-based. Let's put it that way. And so you see, with even other governments looking at the whole global world, there's so much attention on the girl child, and the boy child is really being left behind. So I think our leaders, this is a challenge to you. How can we bring this conversation back? Even if we go to Beijing this time for the boy child, we do that just to bring them, to just have the skills equal for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Larry, for talking about the skills we got people. Let me give this to Mr. Ford at the back here. This is your time, Mr. Ford.
Thank you so much. Just wanted to stress the point. As young men, youth, you are correct. I am part of your failure. I am part of your failure. I come from Africa. I was born and raised in Africa. Just like you, I live in a completely different system. And growing up in that system, I was once taught that I'm not complete. Where in reality, I am all that is complete. You come from an African standpoint. You young men, who tomorrow will be the leader of the world. Whether you know it or not, whether you have a system that supports you or not, that's way beyond your being of today. You come from the great continent that always, even today, is being fought to go down. You don't have nothing to be fearful about. Think about the universities that you go to. It's because of your great-great-grandparents. Reason why those universities are here. Think about the subject matters. I was once at your position. I graduated from the University of Minnesota. Today, thank God, I'm a 50-year-old man, black man, living in the West. I've never been to jail and don't intend to go to jail. I'll just break it down from there. Abari, Missouri, bonjour. Come stai? Nangadef. You got so many different wealth of cultural values you got to use to break down that fear. Oh yeah, I don't have a friend. You don't need one because you compete. What you need to do is to affirm yourself. Young man, you have your mom and dad. All of these people, they were not born nor raised here. That so-called illusion system doesn't exist. You have to go back and think about the scholars who were there before you, outside of the scope of school you're going through. I homeschool my children, not because I don't trust or believe that the system works. There is a complete different system that you have in Kenya, that you have in Tanzania, that you have in Senegal, that you have in Europe, and you have here in the United States. You got so many different public libraries you can go to and dig about who was John Henry Clark, who was Joseph Ben-Yakuna, who's Martin Luther King, not from what the school is teaching you, but do your own research to empower yourself first and foremost before you sit down with any panel. Because the psychics is part of the system. You will be looked at as being weak. You're not. Why? You got a mom. You didn't do yourself alone here. Think about your mom. Think about your sisters. You're never going to be incomplete. This is a war that has always will be around. This is going on for all of us, mind, all black men you see here. We're always trying to perform to a norm that will never be existing because you are it. So don't think when I hear young men saying, oh, it's so hard, this and that, because I'm part of your failure. And this is the chance for me to show that you are not at all even close to being a failure. Because if a system doesn't do nothing for you, the minute I look at you, black man, I see completeness in you. So don't be fearful. And don't wait for a system that may or may not come. Because you are the system. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fall. Wow, that's a good insight. You know, like I'm telling you, young men, there's so much resources. I mean, there's so much you can do. I mean, I can see we have mentors here in this room. So ask. I want you to stand up and ask. So don't suffer alone. We want to give you the support. We want to be there for you because there's so many challenges out there, you know. And you know, when you're past 18 years old, you're going to be there by yourself. No, we're going to stand with you all the way. So I'm going to give this microphone to the Hennepin County team is up here. We'll talk about the coalition and what we do. Then we'll talk maybe too about maybe how do you meet this gap? You know, what do we do different to make this white that is the best support system in our community?
Good morning, everyone. I'm just so happy and privileged to be blessed here in this space this morning. I want to thank Sam for making this possible. I'm going to speak to the brother who just spoke. That was so powerful, and it was the truth. You know, and I have a strong black king as my husband who leads my home and my children's home. And I'm so grateful. I'm a sister of 4 brothers, and so I have a heart for men, and I have 2 sons myself. I just want to say that I'm a part of a coalition with Hennepin County. This is new, so I'm the community engagement manager. We have several. My focus is on children and family services and the disproportionality how children of color are impacted by systems within Hennepin County. Hennepin County has made a decision to take a back seat and really push forth the voice of community, the elevation of culture, the elevation of family, the elevation of community support. And so through that, my role is to really develop a coalition, which I reached out to Sam, and he was excited. And it's going to be through community. It's going to be through partnership. And this coalition will help elevate and bring forth fathers' voices in Hennepin County's systems across the board: economic supports, housing, child protection, children and family services. We're starting small. I think we have a team of probably 7 people right now, and it'll be community-led. And Hennepin County will take a back seat. And so that's what the coalition is for. We're going to push for incentives, whether that's cultural support in the community, whether that's native to other countries, or African Americans who are descendants of enslaved Africans. So I always tell my boys they come from strong lineage of men, whether we got to go back 4 or 5 generations, but we are here, and I speak to the king in my sons. And so this initiative that Sam is a part of will help lead it, and we are excited as where it's going to go. And so we'll bring this feedback to the Hennepin County leaders. It'll be up to them to make the decisions that we request, but we have to start somewhere. And so I just want to say thank you, Sam, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. That was powerful what you just said. What that gentleman said down there, that was powerful. My name is Al Ramus, and I'm here on another thing, but I want to tell this group that there are brothers like myself with police going on the rest of that, the racial cultural divide. There's brothers like myself who brought to a program called the Power of the People Leader Institute. Dr. Vernon Price and Shane Price run that program. We do a program called Boys of Hope in the high schools. We have Ramsey, Anoka, Hopkins, Excel is the one I teach at Interact. Those are boys of color. We talk to them about them. Their birthright, their bond, you know, the 8 steps of a good life, that curriculum that we have. And it's really effective. I think, Sheree, you said it best. Everybody wants some affirmation. Everybody wants to know that they're lovable, they're important, they're smart, and they can do whatever they put their mind to. We just have to push that agenda. And that's what I'm a part of. I may not be able to stop the police from killing my brothers, but I got to talk to them about this. And they got to talk to me about it. We talk about prison too. There's over 2 million people in jail. What are we going to do with them? So somebody's got to have solutions to these problems. But the biggest thing is that everybody here got a heart to do it. I don't want no money. I just want to see my kids grow up, my grandkids grow up. I want to leave a legacy to them. You know, I want to see them do something different. I want to see society do something different. Even politically. I'm tired of the same record. Republicans, Democrats. They're so busy fighting me, ain't about nothing about me on the ground. We got some old black leaders around here that stuff too. I'm not saying overload the system. I'm just saying get some of these people out this spot and let's get some new people with a balanced agenda that's going to help everybody.
Amen.
Wow, that's wonderful. And thank you so much for reaching out to me. I think you reached out to me. When you reached out to me, and I told you, just come over. You know, this is our first time we're meeting today, but I told you come over. That's wonderful. I think we need to work again. Yeah, I've learned something. So I know all the time is coming over. So I'm going just to ask the panel here just one more last question here. We talked about neglect. We talked about the causes. So going forward, what can we do then?
So, thank you, everyone. Hopefully, yeah. Thank you so much for all your comments, for all your thoughts and insights. Very, very powerful. I think, for me, it comes back down to a sense of belonging. Being a man, being male. There's so many different aspects of that, and there are so many different personalities and characters and types, and that is more than welcome, but sometimes as even as adults we have challenges trying to find places or circles that we can feel that we belong, right? So tap into those feelings, and I asked all the adults and males, females, do what you can to help our younger folks to be able to find a place where they belong and where they can grow, because as hard as it is for us, it's even that more challenging for them. And again, whether it's in the family, whether it's in a workplace, whether it's in school, whether it's in sports, everyone wants to find a place where they can belong and feel affirmed and try and heal and try and grow. So that's where we can go from here.
Thank you, Speaker.
I just really appreciate all the things that were said. I love what you had to say, ma'am. And Sarah, also what you had to say. That sense of belonging. When we talk about community, you belong somewhere. I see my fifth son. I remember just seeing him be a baby and just watch what he sees in front of him, right? And at no point did he have to try to figure out where he fit in this. He just said, this is me. This is my part in this family. And I thought that was amazing, because I struggle with that. I struggle with, where do I fit in this situation, in this group? What do I bring to the table? And yet, this boy, baby, he's 5 now, but he's just like, I'm me. They are them and this is us. It's just this sense of that. But it's also what we show them. how we picked him up when he was crying, how we told his brothers, respect him, so on and so forth. And so we got to speak to these kids and let them know who they are, because that's what they're looking for. You know, a baby's born not speaking. They learn based on all the people around them, what they hear and what they repeat. You know what happens when you see that little kid say a bad word, you're like, what you learning at home, right? But you also know when you hear kids saying amazing things, loving things, man, what are you learning at home? What are you learning in school? So I think it comes to, like, you know, we talked about how we flipped the scales because women we had not treated our women on equal grounds, and I agree. But bottom line, it comes to this. We got to build up everybody. We got to build up everybody. You got to build up these young boys. You got to build up these young girls. We got to let them know this is what we have, and this is where you belong. Now, and you get to also go, what is good about this? What is bad about this? What can we do about both of these? You know what I mean? I think it's you know, I want to be all fancy with my words, but the bottom line is, it's like, we get to tell people, we get to tell our youth where you belong. Man came up here and goes, let me tell you boys, I was here. This is what you do. This is how you do it. And I think we need to do that mostly, first and foremost, in our families. But we know every family doesn't have a mother and a father. And even if they are there, not always providing good examples. So that's when the coaches, teachers come into place. Just people who go, I care. Why? Because you're me. That's what community is. You're me. And so if I want this place to be, I want to show you this. I want to teach you this. You know what I mean? I think it comes down to, what are we going to instill into the people coming under us? We call them kids. They are kids. I get that. What are we instilling? Because 30, 40 years ago, someone was saying that about us, right? Someone was saying, what are we going to teach this generation? And here we are. So I think it comes down to just, what are we instilling? You said, I have kings. Amen. Tell them. Build confidence in these children. Tell them who they are. You know, you tell them that I tell my boys all the time, you don't need approval from anybody else because I've told you who you are. I told you who you are. And I'm going to continue to tell you. My son, he struggled reading. I said, what's your name? He goes, I'm Lamar. I said, you're Lamar and you're smart. I said, what's your name? He goes, I'm Lamar and I'm smart. Because he is. It's just the truth. So I don't care what anyone says to him in his class or whatever. He is Lamar and he is smart. His father told him that. And I only tell him that because I know who my God has called me to be. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm not lying to you. I'm not just saying this to say nice things. I'm saying this because it's the truth. And when I build you up to do whatever, you can do whatever. And I got 6 boys, so yeah, it's boys for me. But I got I got 2 nieces. I love them dearly. And trust me, when I tell them, I'm going to be like, this is who you are. You are amazing. You are gifted. You are talented. And I think that's what it comes down to. And I think it comes to that community when we don't have perfect families, you know? So that's it for me.
Yeah, I also just wanted to name and say that, you know, in terms of trying to be intentionally inclusive, it's not just a boy and girl issue. You know, I do want to say that there is a place to belong if, you know, for all who are gender fluid or non-binary or facing, you know, developmental challenges or disability, right? All of our youth, you know, need to be able to feel that they have a place to belong.
Okay. Thank you. I think at the end of the conversation, I think that the community way of spoken, they spoke about sense of belonging. That's very important. Our youth need mentors. And one thing I want to say is this: whatever we go through every day, whatever our youth are going through every day, we don't give up on them. Couple things also, we learn to listen to them. One thing I do in my house every day, before we eat, I ask my kids, how's their day at school? So that sparks a conversation, a dinner time conversation. And believe me, after the conversation, they tease me a lot, you know? And I think that makes me feel younger, you know? Because our kids, they go through so much stuff at school. So it's very, very important, even as men go to your house, I know you're tired, you have that set of table or of a chair for you, nobody can sit, but also spark that conversation. One thing I want to say is the last thing I want to say in the conclusion, don't stand on the fence and do nothing. You came here to learn. When you go through that door, because when you came here, you're a different person. When you go through that door, you have so much resources. Pick up resources from these our vendors who are here, who have supported this organization. Get the information. Go out and share, because there are so many people who are hurting. They have refused to accept it. They have refused to talk. But I told myself and my friends, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to work with Mr. Paul, Susan, Mr. Ford, Sammy Ray, Mr. Ray, XP, Atlas, Asa. We're going to work together. Mr. Boy, Mr. Kamau, we're going to work together. It's not the number of people. It's the change we can make in our community. Sammy Ray, thank you.
All right, give it up to our panelists here. That was an awesome discussion, and I promise you, they deliver, right? They did. So we've learned a lot. All right, so I know we've learned a lot. You know,
thank you to the following: Atlas Staffing. Thank you for your contribution, support. And forgive me if my pronunciation isn't right of some of these names on here. Tylo Care, thank you for your support, and we thank you as well. Hennepin County, we thank you for your support and look forward to all of your continued support. The City of Brooklyn Park, who I represent, on behalf of Mayor Jacobson, my fellow colleague Susan Pye, myself, we want to say thank you, and on behalf of the other council members who's not present, but we all want to thank you from the city and let you know that we stand behind you as well. From the BPAA, we want to thank you too, Courtney. And I will say this, that I was a coach in BPAA. So years ago, coaching some boys, so I took them to the Metrodome 2 years in a row. But and two of them played professional football, one with the Vikings and one with the Jets and the Cardinals that played in BPAA. Thank you to ACER. We want to say thank you to Kappa. Is Kappa here? We want to say thank you anyway for your support as well. To the Minnesota Army National Guard, we want to say thank you, gentlemen, for what you do each and every day in guarding us 365 days out the year. We want to thank you from boys to men. We want to thank you to, I'm really passionate about this, as you know, to the Brooklyn Park Fire Department and Marshal Dan, Marshal Cadets Roberts and Brashear. I want to thank you very much. To the, and also the Memorial Health Community, that's the same thing, North Memorial Health Community Partners, paramedics. The Legal Courage Staffing, we want to say thank you. Project Hope, we want to say thank you. And your words were really inspiring and encouraging as well. To the host of the event, the Global Fathers Foundation, we couldn't have done all this, any of this without you guys. Thank you, Sam, for your vision annually, for what you do and what you continue to do and what we look forward to do with you in Global Fathers Foundation. Kilimanjaro Catering, we want to say thank you very much. That spicy chai tea was pretty good. And I don't drink tea and I don't drink coffee, but that was pretty decent. Thank you very much. And the Brooklyn Alliance for Youth, we want to say thank you as well for your support. And Sister Comfort, as always, we thank you. This is not my first time seeing you, second time seeing you, but each time you have always brought what you always bring, a message for those that need to hear it. Now, I want to say thank you to everybody that came out to support, number one, International Males Day, to recognize it. But if I could just pause for 1 minute and just I'm putting him on the spot, but well, some of you have a dad here because he got a King sweatshirt on. So this is an opportunity to speak, and I want to give him an opportunity to just say something, because I don't want you to be here without your voice being heard. I know you bring some value to here, but if I could just ask him to speak for one moment. You're a dad, so.
Yeah. Kids are the future, we gotta take care of them.
Hold the mic a little closer.
Sure. Yeah, kids are our future, we gotta take care of them. Boys and girls, they're all important. All the age, you know, we gotta take care of them.
Thank you. When I intentionally say we all, I mean we all. We all have a voice, and our voice all need to be heard. I don't care what you look like, where you come from, your language you speak, your background, we all have an opinion and a voice, and they need to be heard. I want to say that. And I also want to say in closing that I thank you because you told my story. Each and every one of you stood up here and said something about me as reflective of who I am. I'm from the city of Detroit, east side of Detroit, where you know everything's in the media all these many years has been promoted in Detroit, but that's where I'm from. But I'm standing here before you today and say, here's where I am today. The same little black boy from the east side of Detroit is standing here with this mic in my hand, bringing a message to those that's out here listening. I thank everybody that came along with my journey to help me to where I'm at today, and those that continue to touch my life as I move forward. I'm thankful to Brother Sam because of this reason. As we stood up here and identified what Global Fathers Foundation truly represents and reflective of, I won the Global Fathers Foundation Award just 2 years ago. It was presented to me for everything that they stand for. I received that honor, that high and distinct honor, just 2 years ago. And I'm truly thankful for Sam and those that voted for me and said, listen, that's the community guy right there. And those pillars of life, community, husband, father, whatever else it is that it is to be done, I'm reflective of that and what it is that I do, and they recognize me for that, and I'm truly grateful for that honor, distinct honor as well. So, in closing, International Males Day. Well, thing that I want to say as well is, remember kids 30 years ago, 20 years ago, like myself, I'm going to say 20 years ago for me, it isn't the same as it is 20 years later. Please understand that. What we dealt with 20 years ago is not what we're dealing with today, 20 or 30 years later. My hair isn't long no more. My walk probably isn't the same, but I still try to be intentional with what it is that I do in life. To be a beacon of light and a ray of hope to those that's others that's deserving and in need. Each and every day I wake up thanking God for an opportunity to get it right, to make it right, to do it right, and to do it His way. By reaching out and giving back to those deserving and in need. Because it's the right thing to do. And as Dr. Martin Luther King said, it's always the right time to do what's right. So sometimes in doing what's right may be a lonely battle. Maybe a person that's on this island all by themselves. But if you're bold, brave, and courageous enough to stand on that island, continue to stand, to fight for what is right. Regardless of if nobody don't get the message today. And that's what we all are here to do. And somebody in the questions that was asked, they asked, what can we do? I promise and vow to you each and every day that I will do what I possibly can as an elected official to lend my voice to the conversations that we need to have, that we are not having, that again that we need to have, regardless how difficult, challenging, or uncomfortable that it makes somebody feel. Those are the conversations that we need to have. And I promise you that this is what I'm willing to do each and every day of my life in serving each and every one of you as your city council person and representative. That's my pledge and my promise, and it doesn't make me no difference, because sometimes the boat needs to be rocked, but sometimes that boat needs to be tipped over too, to see if those that's making those decisions can tread water themselves who are making those decisions. Because sometimes they make a decision that wouldn't do the same thing if the shoe was on the other foot. So we need to challenge them and challenge ourselves to do that. So I just want to say that I got a relationship with a lot of stories that was told. To my brother from Cameroon, that's where my ancestors are from. So I want to say I've seen a lot of things, done a lot of things. This was a great event and opportunity, but this room should be filled next year with more people. International Males Day. I thank Brother Sam here for speaking about my wife, my First Lady, and my mom, who was 98 years old, who give me inspiration every day. Because just think of this, 98 years ago, when my mom was a little girl, she was experiencing the same thing we're doing today. And here we are 98 years later. We're experiencing the same thing we're doing today that she did when she was a little girl. So what have really changed? But we need the people that's willing to stand up, to lift up their voice, and be the change makers. The change agents that we need to see. If you guys can just in closing, just repeat after me. We're going to make it. If we just try. I know together that we can make it. It's going to take you and it's going to take I. That's right. These was words that came to me when I was growing up, a song that I wrote. Together that we can make it, but it's going to take each and every one of us to make this happen. We all got to play our part and lend our hand. Regardless of what big or small piece that may be, we all have to bring that to the table. When Susan and I stand at city council meetings, here's something. Resources is not allocated to our youth programming. I'm not one to raise taxes because I pay them too. But here's what I want to say to taxpayers. If we don't pay to raise our taxes now, we're going to pay when crime continue to rise because there's no programming for these youth to be involved in. So understand that. If we don't pay today to have our taxes raised today to put money after school and out school programming, we're going to pay because they're going to find mischief to get into. So we're going to be paying later. I'm not one to raise taxes, but I just want to pay common sense to bring those things to us now, those that opposes taxes, and I am one that does that. But again, in closing, I just want to say I'm thankful for this opportunity to be here. I'm grateful to my colleague, Councilman Parr, who was on the panel, XP, and those, I'm not going to call everybody's name, but Sam, this is for you. We bless you, man, in everything that you do, in your footsteps. And I don't know if anybody knew, but that was Sam's son that spoke. That was Sam that spoke. So the apple don't fall too far from the tree. So he stopped me and said, my dad is doing this, and he went on and started telling the story about his dad. And his dad, didn't he know he was telling the story about him? But he stopped me and was talking to me and telling me how proud he was of his dad. And I don't even know if he told his dad, but I'm putting him on the spot about his dad and what he said to me. So he was really honoring and treasuring his dad for who his dad is and being in his life. And this is something that we don't hear. That's that fuel, that's that compliments that we need, not just from a woman, a mother. This is from his son, this black male that's giving respect and honor to the man he looked up to. That's very important today in 2021 because Sam, you're doing something in his life. You provided him a pathway forward. Even though there's barriers and hurdles, you're giving him alternatives to get around them as well. So I just want to thank you for that. I want everybody to know that that was his son that was speaking. And in closing, once again, I thank you guys for coming out and all of your support. But we all need to do our part to begin to give us all a pathway forward together as one united community, city, and people. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for your support. And next time, tell somebody and bring somebody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Boyd. We appreciate that. So we've come to the conclusion of our discussion, conference today for International Men's Day. Just go spread the word. I want to remind everybody there's a vaccine going on at the gym. So if you need that first shot, second shot, or booster as well, make sure you go get that. And then also, we are not telling everybody to leave the room. We have a lot of resources here. Make sure you go to all our vendors, get to grab some literature, find out what they do, some resources that you need, and even a resource that you know somebody might need out there. So grab something there, interact. One thing I always say, hey, the best thing you can ever do is make sure that you do what? You interact with one another, and grab somebody's card, grab somebody's number. You might be a business partner down the road. They might lead you to somewhere else that you don't know. So make sure that we get to interact and get to know each other. So God bless you all. Drive safe home. Winter is here. It's still beautiful outside. And since the mayor is not here, I'm going to say one more thing. Skål. All right? All right. All right. God bless you all. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Henry Momanyi. I am Executive Director of Robo Health Services. I normally work with the Robo Fathers Foundation as one of the partners. We normally work together in the community, bring our people together. Especially today, it was a Men's Day, and as a father, I would like to say that we need more of this, and we encourage most of the organizations and the agencies to come together and bring our men together, because this is very important. So we need to make sure that we have our boys, youths, synthesized, so that they can become good parents tomorrow. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, is that over? Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we know that our community has got so many challenges, especially facing the youths, and unless we come together, it is a battle, it's a fight. As parents, please, no matter where you come from, we want to see everybody coming on board. We want to see so many of these events, community events, like the Robo Fathers Foundation have started. Let us also join hands. These other agencies, these other organizations, we know together we can bring a change. You see, we have the leaders here in the community. The mayor is here. The city council members are here. And these other agencies are here. So mine is brief. We would like to synthesize the community to support these kind of events. And like today, we wanted to see the house full, but we know some people went to work. But next time when this event is going to come up, we would want to see everybody to come on board. Thank you so much, and I hope in the next near future, we will start, going house to house to make sure that, our youth are not left behind. Thank you so much, and good evening.
Thank you again. My name's Samuel Mwangi. I am the Executive Director of the Global Fatherhood Foundation. Today we had a very good event. The event today's name was Men's International Day. We came together as a community. We had the support of the vendors, the support of diversity in our community, and the goal is just to appreciate our men. We want men to be appreciated, we want the boys to be appreciated, because every day we go through so many challenges, and it's also an opportunity to bring out our cause more to the community. I want men to have voices, I want men to get resources, I want men to have good relationship, and I want men to know that whatever you do, we appreciate you. But also it comes with a challenge, as men, we need to stand up, we need to be active, we need to be engaged, we need to support our children, we need to support our spouses, and we need to be there for our kids. Global Fatherhood Foundation has been there for the last 5 years, and our goal has been to connect men, connect communities together, connect foundation together, so we can build capacity. You can build capacity so our men in the community, they can have voices. From the next couple of years, our goal is to engage as many people as possible. Right now, at the moment, we are connecting with the Asian community. They have come to us. They say they want to work with us. We are going also to work with the German community also. They want to work with us. Yeah, the African American community also, they want to work with us. And we have few other African communities based in the Twin Cities, they want to work with us. We will not give up. We are going to soldier on. We are going to make sure we held our leaders accountable. We need resources For our men in the community, there's domestic violence, there's the issue of mental health, there's the issue of loneliness. So as we grow up, we will be engaging the city because of building capacity and making sure that our men have resources. In the next year, we'll be moving to a bigger office. We are going to start now mentoring our youth. As you can see, we are growing old in this country, and we need to leave a legacy so that our youth can have a good foundation. They can continue the journey of building our community, because we here, our job has been to connect them. When we connect them, we support them, then they're going to build a good future for the future generation, because of our network, because of our resources, and that is how a community thrives. Thank you again. Thank you again even for listening for me at this time. Thank you.